Stand for the opening prayer and pledge.
Father in heaven, bless us as we gather today for this meeting. Guide our minds and hearts so that we will work for the good of our community. Teach us to be generous in our outlook, courageous in the face of difficulty, and wise in our decisions. Thy will be done. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, buddy, we've got the music. I'd like to call this Hancock County Commission to order. It's 5th day of May, Cinco de Mayo, 2016, exactly 2:30. I'm going to change the agenda around just a little bit. We have some special guests today. Actually, 3 special guests. And the cutest one in here is up in front with us. This is Harper. And Harper, in honor of Cinco de Mayo, this is the Chihuahua. And he's going to be visiting here for a few minutes. So I'm going to change that agenda around. And this is what this newspaper is for, buddy. Mr.
It's the review.
Yeah. Mr. Smith will be putting great little dog. I think Mr. Smith will be putting a number up on the screen. This is a shelter dog, and he's really neat, huh? And someone can take him home today. Yeah, good. He's a good boy. So with that said, we would like Mr. Goff, are you going to speak to us today? Sure. If you could, we're going to change the agenda around. We're going to put you first. If you would step up to the microphone, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Commissioner. Tom Goff, I'm the board president of the Hancock County Animal Shelter Foundation. And we want to come out and attend the meetings more often, more connected with the commission, and also give you an update as far as what is going on at the shelter. First off, we want to say thank you to Comcast, who came out this weekend on Saturday, and we had over 60 volunteers. And if you've been by there, they painted the outside of the shelter, they did landscaping, they removed an old fenced-in area where the dogs were. And we just want to say how thankful we are to those volunteers. It was Comcast Cares event. It was our 25th anniversary. And to be chosen for that was pretty amazing. So we're very grateful for that. Also, our local volunteers came out, too, and helped us. So it was about a 6-hour event, very successful. So when you drive by, you'll see some spruced up to the shelter there for the folks at Comcast. We thank them. We have some events coming up in this week for May 10th, I should say, next week. We have an event at Fuzzy Peach. That's after the election. As you know, we have a levy coming up for Tuesday, and we are going to have a fundraiser and dog event. So after you go vote, stop by Fuzzy Peach on 3 Springs Drive, and we will have dogs there for adoption, and also they will give a portion of the donations to the shelter, too, for anything that you purchase there. And we also have PetSmart on May the 14th and 15th. That's a national adoption weekend. We're very involved with PetSmart up in Robinson. From this shelter, we adopt a lot of dogs out of there, and that is a big event for us coming up. We usually take anywhere from 6 to 7 dogs per trip. And then locally, we have Kroger's coming up on May the 28th, and that is a dog adoption event and community rewards. We're very involved with our local businesses, Busy Beaver, Kmart, Kroger's, to name a few, and we get a lot of turnout from the community as far as adoptions and a lot of donations. And to give you an update, we also started with, we have Frankie's Friends, which was last year. That's our low-cost spay-neuter clinics, and we expanded that with Angels for Animals out of Ohio, and we're offering up to 40 spots per month with Angels for Animals, and then Frankie's Friends is 50. So we are on track to do well over 600 cats this year for spay and neuter, which is really amazing. And to have that support with Angels for Animals we are very grateful for that, to have that connection. So the community itself has access now, very easy access, to get their cat spayed or neutered at a very low cost. And a little bit down the road, we're hopefully going to have low-cost spayed and neuter available for dogs. So that's our next step, is to take that. We're doing the cats first because dogs are a little more labor-intensive. So that brings you up to date. We do have our levy vote coming up on Tuesday, so we hope everyone comes out and supports the shelter and the foundation and all the good work that we do. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, buddy, you got to go. Kiss him goodbye. See ya. All right. Next on the agenda, we have Mr. Pat Ford, BDC, is here to give us a little update. Well, Mr. DeLesio, they brought the Grand Poobah today, and he'll be speaking to the commission.
Commissioner, thank you. My name is Bill DeLesio, and I do chair the Business Development Corporation for Hancock and Brooke County. And some of my partners, obviously Marvin Six, John Mennepenny, and of course Pat Ford. And we're here to renew our LED. But I just want to say thank you to commissioners, Hancock County, for your partnership with us. A lot of things that are happening, especially the last, I'm going to say 18 months, is because of your positive attitude that you have with the county and how things can happen through our Business Development Corporation. So I just want to personally, I came here just to thank you for being a partner with us, and we're expecting a lot of good things happening in Hancock County. So thanks again. In saying that, I'll have Pat come on up and explain some of the things that may be happening.
Commissioners, thank you very much. We always appreciate the opportunity to come and talk to you about the previous year, and also talk to you about our plans for the upcoming year. And as you've always heard from us, and as we've always discussed in our board meetings, the environment that we're in from an economic development standpoint is very competitive, and it's also very challenging. It requires us to make sure that we have suitable inventory for business retention, business expansion, and business recruitment. And that always comes with a price considering the competitive environment we're in. We're always competing for not only other regions for these businesses to stay here and come here, but we're also competing with other countries. And so we have to be very sharp in making sure that we position our properties the best we can and as ready as we can when these prospects come to town. And in doing that, that requires a partnership. And Mr. DeLesio, the chairman of our board, touched on that, and that's why this partnership is critical. At any one time, we probably have anywhere from 8 to 14 different partners for every project because of the type of real estate that we're working with in the Northern Panhandle. And I'd like to just highlight some of the partnerships that have blossomed out of that initial project that we all work together on at the TS&T site that we've been able to model for other projects in Hancock County. For example, we started out with a $200,000 grant that you helped us lobby our congressperson back in 2011 to get a planning grant from the US EDA. Illustrating how we could use a regional planning grant, it really positioned us well to just recently applying for a $600,000 coalition grant to help us further assess and ready sites for some of these prospects. So that initial gesture in being able to get that money is now going to make it possible for us to possibly get $800,000 to help us site ready properties in our Tri-County area, and that includes Jefferson County, Ohio. We've also taken upon ourselves to work with some of the communities right here in our backyard, Chester and New Cumberland, to beginning a partnership to start addressing some of their challenges. Because of your leadership and you helping them along and helping those two communities create inventory as well, we've started a bad building initiative in our county here to again, not only address some of the blight in our community, but also improve the streetscape and also make it more attractive when we bring prospects from other states and other countries to our area to best showcase our community. And just by starting that initiative, we've been able to attract over the past year $77,000 for grants from Wells Fargo, Huntington Bank, and also the Hubcap program. That comes out of the state of West Virginia. We also received a wonderful announcement from the West Virginia EDA. No one thought that this was going to happen, but I'll never forget that first meeting that you commissioners held in Chester when we were talking about the vision that we had for the TS&T site. That initial $500,000 investment that you all made has now reaped close to $2.6 million with the announcement that the West Virginia EDA is going to finance the construction of a new building that we're going to be breaking ground within the next 4 weeks. We're really excited about that. And what the public also is not aware of is that we've also worked with WVU, and we have applied for a $500,000 grant from a private foundation to actually prepare a pedestrian path to connect the northern neighborhood of Chester to the central business district through the TS&T site along the riverfront. And that's called an Art Place grant. And that $500,000 is not a planning grant, that's actual construction. And what's making that particular grant exciting for us, and what we think is going to be exciting for the funders, there has to be an art component. And we've been able to keep stockpiled some pottery shards that we wanted to fold in to the actual paving material, and also create an educational and interpretive pathway through the property. So as we develop this site, we will never forget the history and heritage that pottery has had in our community. So we're really excited about that. We've also been able to work closely with you all and our funding partners on the repurposing of the former Jimmy Carey Stadium. We were successful in getting a $90,000 grant from the U.S. EPA to assess that property and remove the petroleum tanks and the contaminants on the property. We were also able to get a $5,000 planning grant, and to finish the cleanup, we also have applied for about a $120,000 grant to finish the cleanup before we can actually repurpose that site, because there's a lot of lead and asbestos still in that facility that we need to remediate before we can actually use that property. We're also working very closely with New Cumberland officials to begin addressing the gateway into what is probably going to be, has become one of the largest intact pieces of marketable real estate probably in the Ohio River Valley, and that's the Mountaineer, the surplus properties of Mountaineer. That particular site has been getting a lot of interest from national and international prospects. And we knew it was just going to be a matter of time, because as all of these large manufacturing companies that have site needs that range anywhere from 50 to 400 acres, the sites have been slowly dwindling. There's generally been 4 sites that have been shopped to all of these national and international prospects. The Monaca site was just secured. The site in Ohio in Belmont County, Dilly's Bottom, was just secured. A property down in Parkersburg was secured by Braschem, and the last remaining one is the one up here in Mountaineer. And so what we're going to be doing is we're going to continue to work with you folks. We continue to work with Mountaineer and the state to make sure that we properly have this site prepared for future economic investment that is inevitable will happen in the near future. Again, we're excited, and what we've been able to illustrate in that partnership that Mr. DeLessio talked about is that the whole idea of creating inventory is our prime objective, and I'm confident that whenever we get these sites properly prepared, they instantly become repurposed. All you have to do is look up and down the valley from again the TS&T site, the former Memorial Stadium, Domino's, some of the smaller ones. You even go down into Brooke County. As soon as we get these properties back into the inventory, we get a contract signed for a lease or a purchase option right away, and that just illustrates how valuable that is. And again, we would not be where we are today if we didn't set up that initial model with you all on how to repurpose the former TS&T site. So with that said, we thank you for your support in the past, and we look forward to working with you and counting on your support in the future. So thank you.
Mr. Ford, when did this partnership start with us? I mean, the years sort of blend in with me anymore. When
What was interesting,
What
it was
year
about
was that?
it was about 2010 where you actually summoned Mr. Six and myself to your office, and you all had this very aggressive
2010.
economic development
Right.
agenda. And you basically said, we need to create inventory. What do we need to do? And so we did two things. The first thing we did is we worked to pay a consultant. Actually, that contract was every bit of $240,000, and we paid AECOM to do two things for us: identify priority sites that would be most suitable for industries and businesses of the future, and also to identify what business or industry clusters we needed to be target marketing, which we've been doing. And those five target markets that we've been aggressively going after have been healthcare, value-added steel, energy, chemicals, and transportation logistics. And if you look at the spaces that we've been filling and the expansion that has been occurring, it's been happening in each one of those five areas. And one of those priority sites was right up here in Hancock County, and that's the Mountaineer site. And we already have that site preliminary planned and preliminarily engineered to accommodate these businesses that are, sure enough, surfacing in our area and looking for a place to call home.
Jeremy, you have any questions?
No, but I was thinking of a saying you used about a month ago at a banquet we were at, and you, correct me if I have this wrong, but it was the hammer that breaks the glass forges the steel. Do I have that correct?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
As you think back as to what's going on, you can break that glass in a second, and it's done. To forge steel takes time. And I think if you think in terms of what you're doing and what we've tried to do, and these guys in the past have done, is if you make the purchase or set your sights on the land or something, and that's breaking the glass. Here it is. And what you have to do to prepare it, to put a building, to market it, to sell it, to get people in, and it does take a little bit more time than it does to pop that glass. And I know that wasn't what your intention for that glass was. But but that's
you know what?
the way you can take it. And
That's right.
I understand that good things take time. The public understands good things takes time, and we can just continue to move forward slowly but surely.
I appreciate that, Commissioner. And again, taking time, it was interesting when we were talking to the state and we were given the nod that they were going to actually approve the financing for the construction of this new building at TS&T. Marvin and I just happened to be, the way we were situated in our room, we were actually looking up at the article that we have framed on our wall where it said sold. It's that article that was in the review that when we purchased and it was dated, what, 2011? 2011. And what sometimes we forget is that property sat there for 30 years. And who would have thought, a lot of people, when they would have looked at that building in 2011, they probably thought we would have never been to where we are today. But you have to just keep pounding and pounding and forging that seal, as you said. And here we are 5 years later. We never really stopped to look up. We just kept our nose to the grindstone, and $5,000 here, $20,000 there, $500,000 here, $250,000 there. I mean, that's what it takes. It's. I can't tell you how many grants we've been turned down for, but I can tell you how many we've been approved, and that's exactly $2.61 million. And that's what it takes. And every one of our sites requires constant pounding. And some people just don't have the stomach for that. And what we're blessed with is that you guys have illustrated not only the capacity, but the stomach and the backbone to persevere through that and help us share the grip on that handle and keep pounding. And we appreciate that.
Pat, you have to also look at the relationships that's occurred over the last 15, 20 years. I mean, with our state representatives, on with other state officials, which spins off to our federal officials. And we've been blessed. I mean, we talked about, I think at the last BDC meeting, $50 million in water and sewer projects that we've done in Hancock County since 2000. So these projects, they keep going. They just don't happen because you're lucky.
That's right.
It takes a lot of work.
A lot of work.
It takes a lot of connections and knowing the right people. And I think, for the most part, not just elected officials, but your group as well as others, they're out there constantly. They're visiting Charleston. They're going to Washington. They're meeting the folks that have to. And that's why things get done here in Hancock.
Absolutely.
But now let's just keep plugging, day at a time.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Yeah, I'd like to thank you as well, Mr. Ford. This whole process started with a convention that the commission went to. Jeff, I have no clue on the years. 2007, 2008, went to a national convention, National County Commission convention, and I didn't know what to expect, but the theme was economic development and growth. And from that, we brought back one main theme, and that is, you can't go back to your counties and sit and wait for people to come to you. You got to take it to them. You've got to expose Hancock County to the state, to the country, to global. And to do that, the second part of that was to do that, you need an experienced economic development engine. They said, you can't do it yourself. Just like us. We had, a mill worker, a businessman, and a school principal. What did we know? We couldn't even spell it. Well, I could, but the other two couldn't.
He taught us, though.
So from that, in the 2010 draft, we drafted Pat Ford in the BDC. Hancock County did, and from that day forward, it has been nothing but progress in this county. Has it been easy? No. The first site, the TS&T site, and even the Newell site, there were some naysayers out there. I told the story about the magic beans, and a lot of people said they're not going to grow. But they did grow, and this county has benefited a lot. So we would have no reason to discontinue this marriage relationship.
How about those old veterans in the back? 20 years ago, you guys were on the EDA back then. Is that right? John, Marv, Bill?
Yeah.
Well over 20 years.
Well, John and I have been on it, and Marvin actually too.
The origination of the
Yeah,
Which was
that's how
back
far.
in the early '80s, I think.
Right.
Eli Dragozich,
Yeah.
Dave Gold, a lot of Weird and Steel people.
A long time. Yeah.
And they actually, and what you're saying, Mike, is absolutely true. When we drafted Pat, we didn't know if we were going to get him. They had a lot of options,
Right.
and we've been very fortunate to have a guy that only requires 4 hours sleep, which is pretty doggone good. He wakes everybody else up at 2 in the morning with his emails. But we've been very fortunate with Pat and him and Marvin. The effort they put through, it's very exciting for Hancock. I mean, we're right there. I mean, we're ready for a great explosion, and it's going to be great.
Good.
A lot of good things happening.
So with all this said, gentlemen, I will entertain a motion to create, it's an annual thing, our annual resolution to grant the BDC as our LED, Lead Economic Development Engine, authority agent, whatever the last phrase of that is, for Hancock County. We need to do that.
Should do that under new business.
Yeah, I'm just going to throw an addendum on here since we don't have a name.
So move.
Discussion on that? I know it's out of order, but we're okay, Counselor, right?
Why not?
Certainly not going to retract.
Not this point.
No further discussion. I'd call for a vote. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3-0.
Commissioners, thank you.
Thank you. Item 1. Would anyone else like to address this commission today? I'm sorry. Anyone else? Nope, with none. Moving on. Item 1, approval of the minutes. Approval of the commission minute meetings from April 21st of 16.
So moved.
Motion on the floor. Any additions, corrections to the minutes? If not, I'd like to call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. No correspondence. Item 4, new business. County Commission. Approval of the addendum to contract with Laudamus Communications and Security.
So moved.
Clarification, Robert?
This is our contract with Laudamus Communication for the radios and telephone communication. This has to do with the way they're being paid. Price of the contract does not change.
Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3-0. Item 2, approval of internal budget revisions FY 15-16.
Move to approve.
Motion on the floor. Discussion, Karen?
It's just reallocation of funds within the departments. There's no increases.
This is internal
Yes.
revisions.
Yes, sir.
Move to approve.
We have a motion twice. I'm putting a little M now by this so I know that it's moved.
Right.
Tired of these
Twice.
old jokes over here. We have a motion. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 3, approval of budget revision number 3, FY 15-16.
Yeah, so this is their state budget. We submit to the state auditor's office. I just went through, since we're 10 months into the year, and made some adjustments to the revenues and the expenditures just to evaluate and make sure we're where we need to be.
Okay.
I believe that one reflects a loss of our anticipated revenue.
Yes, sir. We do have an expected loss of about $60,000 on our table games. We had originally budgeted $400,000, and we're currently averaging about $28,000. So we're going to fall a little short. So I wanted to go ahead and make that adjustment.
Move.
A motion to approve the budget revision for the state 15-16.
Discussion? Further? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3-0. And Karen, and just because this is a statement, a single line statement, this is public information, public knowledge, and the public it can come and view this, correct?
Yes, sir. As soon as it's approved, I will give it to the county clerk, and it'll be on
In the
record
county
there.
clerk's office, because in the past we've had some question on that, and everything we do is open documents, and they can come and see it. Dog Warden B, approval of the April 2016 monthly report.
Move to approve as presented.
Motion to approve. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3-0. Dog Warden 2, announcements of the dates for the animal rabies clinics. May the 8th, 9 to 11 at the shelter. June the 11th, 9 to 11 at the Weirton City Building parking lot.
Move to approve.
Move to approve, make this a matter of record. Discussion, further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Office of Technology and Communications, requesting approval to advertise for the entities to operate the Hancock County Animal Shelter.
Move to approve.
We have a motion. Discussion? This is simply the what we've been talking about for months now. This is the new counselor. We'd like to jump in. This is just the new contract that was well overdue to us to address.
Correct. It's been discussed before. It's the Commission's interest to enter into a new contract. It sorely needed to be updated. Last contract, if memory serves me correct, was from 1997. Mr. Bias and I are in agreement that really, to satisfy legal requirements, it should be bid out, so to speak. We will see what bids we get. There may be few, but it is, that way we can say that we followed the proper procedures as we should. So that's simply what this is all about.
We have a motion. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3-0. Miscellaneous. Probates and estates.
They have been reviewed and are recommended for approval.
Move to approve.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of exoneration orders.
Move to approve.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. General county bills, Karen.
They are $18,720.68. MP card payments were $16,932.84.
Move to approve to pay the bills.
Discussion? Questions? Please turn off all cellular devices, which I forgot to say. I forget to say it one time.
You of all people.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Pay the bills. Fire allocation bills, requisitions.
They're okay to pay.
Move to approve.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Library levy funds, bills, requisitions.
They're okay to pay.
Move to approve.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Sheltered workshop, levy funds.
One invoice was submitted and it's okay to pay.
Move to approve.
Discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Karen, anything else for the good of the order?
I should probably mention that the change, of course, with the levy being on the ballot, we will be approving the general county budget at the May 19th meeting. And we will lay the levy rates on the 31st.
Mr. Lucas, anything else?
If the commission could do the favor of its counsel to satisfy his paranoia, you'll set that BDC motion you made earlier for next meeting as well, and take it again. I would be appreciative. We don't ever want to be called out of order.
From the Latin word to add, addendum, we can't do that?
I would appreciate if it would be on the agenda prior to the meeting.
Okay. I always thought that you could do that.
You may be able to, but
But
better say
you're
this.
paranoid. You
I'm
always said that.
paranoid.
You said that already.
Just blame it on the paranoid attorney.
I understand what you're saying about the agenda. Technically, under new business, when you have a caller and they're asking for something, you can't discuss that under new business. If
I
there's
think-
a request.
You can,
And
but
then-
I think it's best for notice to all parties that it be on there prior to the meeting, and that the agenda be final before. That's my opinion.
Okay. We appreciate that. Thank you.
I move that we put the request from the BDC acknowledging the county commission as a partner for the LED grant to be on the next agenda.
Thank you.
I'm not paranoid, Sheriff.
You want to take a vote on it?
Oh. Motion, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
We've talked about a little bit in the past about the speed trailer we have. It's a computerized speed trailer. Bring it up. You may have noticed it being moved around the county, different areas. We've had it in Newell. We've had it on Route 2 by Kings Creek Bridge. Right now it's sitting up in Rolling Acres. We've also had it on Route 8. What we're doing is gathering information, and that's helping me to assign future patrols, as well as possible radar units being deployed in those particular areas. And how that's doing that is it allows us to efficiently count cars, to what time of the day we have the heaviest traffic, to what time of the day we may have the heaviest violations, to what time we have no violations. So it gives us a graph as to deployment of officers that we would not normally have. So it's being used as quite a good tool. We now have more information on our roads in the short time we've been using it than probably the Department of Highways. So they might look to us for stats for certain areas, and I'd be happy to share it with you. Just thought I'd let you know that the speed trailer is up and running, but there's other things we're getting out of it besides just warning travelers that they're exceeding the speed or under.
Good investment. Jeremy, anything OEM?
Nothing really. We're just getting ready for Beaver Valley application deal.
Who's going to host that?
I was hoping Tracy would, but
And where's it going to be hosted at? Tell them. I mean, that's what we're here.
Having it out of our brand new building. So
All right.
very excited about that.
911?
We do have our taking applications still for part-time dispatchers. So if anybody's interested, please come to the commission office and fill out an application. And I'm also glad to report that our coordinator, Linda Lecta, is out of the hospital after her open heart surgery and is doing well. So please continue to keep her in your thoughts and prayers. And everybody get out and vote.
Mr. Vitus, anything?
Nothing today
You okay today?
so far. I took a Benadryl before it started. So.
Mr. Vitus' allergy that I wasn't aware of with animals, but you made it. Mr. Foley.
I'd like to thank the sheriff and his department for the help they have been giving us for the voting. There's a lot more people coming through the scanners because of the early voting last weekend and this coming weekend, and we haven't had a bit of problem. As a matter of fact, this morning at 11 o'clock we had 575 early voters. The last time we had early voting would be primary of 2014. We had 420. So we passed that this morning by a few numbers.
And that'll end Saturday night? The early voting ends this Saturday?
This Saturday, yeah. 9 to 5.
Yeah, there's been a line down there. I mean, a little bit of a wait. Yeah, after lunch we couldn't get in. So.
They don't pull no strings down there. I had to wait like 3 people, so.
No, we don't.
No, it was.
We're not giving you any extra slack. You're the same way everybody else goes through.
They said I'd be out by 2:30, so.
How long did it take, Mr. Barnaby? Seriously, it just was
within 4 minutes, 4 or 5 minutes. Yeah.
Wow. How many times have you voted so far?
That's my 3rd time. Twice in 2014, once 2016.
Anything else, Mr. Foley? Commissioner?
No, not really. It was just it's a good day to hear positive things. And anytime you're around Patrick Ford, he's just he's a go forward, get it done type of guy. And I think, like you guys have been on this for years, I think the results are finally starting to pay off. Just hope it continues.
Commissioner Davis?
I'd like to first wish all the moms a happy Mother's Day this coming Sunday. Hope you have a great day if you have the opportunity to spend with your mom. Another thing is election right around the corner. Be here next Tuesday. For many meetings now, we've had a couple candidates that's been attending our meetings, and I'd just like to say that I think it's extremely nice, and it's good to have a breath of fresh air to see that we have positive campaigning. I haven't heard any negative on either one of your parts, and I commend you both for that. Also, more on another local matter, the Weirton Rotary will be hosting their night at the races this Saturday night at Williams Country Club, so hopefully some of you can get out and attend that. But, other than that, that's it. Thank you all for coming.
Yeah, it's getting late. The election soon, next week. One of the foundations this country was built on was the right to vote, and just urge everyone to exercise that right. Commissioner Barbie said it only took you about 4 minutes. So visit your local polling place next week. And that's a good 4 minutes invested in our county. The other thing too is while you're on visiting, stop in and visit our local animal shelter as well. Happy Cinco de Mayo, and I'd like to adjourn this meeting with the next meeting being scheduled on May the 15th at 2:30. Motion to adjourn?
So
What's the
moved.
date? I'm sorry?
19th.
19th. Okay, very good.
19th.